Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the morning of Thursday, January 25th, 2024. Stand by for a Ralph Crandon campaign announcement. Well, Americans, this is your favorite alien campaign manager for the Ralph Crandon campaign for President of the United States. And our campaign asks you now, where do we go from here? You guys have made sure you got a nightmare general election coming up. Nightmare. It's worse than Night Gallery and worse than Twilight Zone. Nightmare. Where's Freddy? You need Freddy here, people. And as you heard in the last 2 days, Donald Trump starting to denigrate Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley was one thing wrong with her. She had a good campaign, and she's running a good campaign, but one thing wrong. She still has her conservative views, and that's not the way to run a campaign like this. You need a person that's in the center and knows that the issues that America is facing require different tacks. You can't have all conservative and all liberal, all centrist, all moderate, all extremist rightists, and all extremist leftists. No. You need a person that can handle each issue accordingly. And some issues are bad. They're going to be handled with very bad taste, but you have to handle them anyway. But they'll leave a bad taste in your mouth. Others, you're going to dissuade people from all kinds of sides because you can't accommodate 100% of the people. But you try to accommodate 85% if you can. And let the other 15% say, hey, this is a work in progress. Nothing's perfect. We work down the line to change it to fit the point of view of the times ahead. That's something that you never realized when Roe versus Wade was adopted in 1973. You never changed with the times. So in 2023, 50 years later, you still had the same point of view of Roe versus Wade from 1973 Supreme Court. And this Supreme Court, instead of looking at that and trying to do different versions of it to incorporate changes in the last 50 years, they went out there and threw it out the window. Roe versus Wade was always and always will be a work in progress. That's something that you Supreme Court justices don't understand about. Work in progress. That's the way the United States is. It's a work in progress. That's why Thomas Jefferson called it half a loaf. Work in progress, people. Immigration is a work in progress. But you are down to very few options left on getting it right and then make it a work in progress going forward. You have no choice now but to close your borders for 4 years or so to new immigrants. For the next 4 years, no new immigrants will be allowed in the United States. And the ones that are here illegally, you're going to have to make them consciously come forward and say, I'm an illegal alien, get a card, become a protected illegal alien under the United States Constitution, and for the next 4 years, they have that much time for adjudication. Some will be gone because of their backgrounds. Others will be allowed asylum, and others will be allowed to become resident aliens and eventually citizens. And for those who became citizens a long time that are still living in barrios, you have to give in along with the African Americans and Asians and Latins and say, we got to stop this division. And those Muslims that are here, Asians that are here, we got to stop this division. This is a nation undivisible, or supposed to be, right? And the under God stuff that you started in 1954, you got to throw that out. You can still believe in God, but there's not a nation under God. There's a nation that looks up there. Is there a supreme being? Yes, no, maybe so. But we will not go no, and we will not go yes, but we will go maybe so. We may see it in our lifetimes. Maybe it's our descendants, or they may find out down the line what being is actually what we call the supreme being, who's not a god. Just like the Goa'uld and Stargate were not gods. To some people they were. See what I mean, Americans? You have to decide. Is there a candidate out there that has these kind of views? Some of them, like abortion, you can't treat with conservatism, you can't treat with liberalism, and you can't treat with centralism, or extremist left, or extremist right, or authoritarian, to being an authoritarian, or being a liberal. You have to treat it as you need it for your good of your society. Is it morally right? Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it, isn't there? But you still need it. You can't put morality and dictate morality. Morality is something that you think you have, but you really don't. But you do a prime directive and you do a dogma that emphasizes this is the way we are, and we'll change a prime directive in our dogma because of the changing conditions and times and other people that you're going to meet. If you meet an extraterrestrial, you got to change the way you look at things because of their way and their outside influence. Some of it will stick, some of it won't. Just like you view Muslims and the Muslims view you. Christianity and Islam, well, they got some good things in common and some bad things they don't. But what they don't understand is you got to coexist if you want to be and still keep what you got. You have to coexist. Do you? No. Is there a candidate out there that will challenge both Trump and Biden to these kind of things on a general election? I doubt it. That has these kind of views. I can't run because I'm an alien from another planet and a resident alien from another country. Somebody has to have my views. It worked on my society. Are we perfect? No. But we outlived you by 2,500 years so far. We were in your position 2,000 years ago. And we made it past that. 1,500 years ago, we left our ancestral planet because they were just like you. They would not make consensus, number one, and compromise was out the door, and they were extremists this and extremists that, and eventually they blew themselves up. And that's the way you are going right now. You don't have consensus to do anything because it's my way or the highway on either side that you're doing it. And I'm not just talking about Democrats and Republicans. I'm talking about extremist leftists, extremist rightists, centrist, liberals, conservatives. Will Nikki Haley ever expand her view? No, because she's a conservative. And how did she get to be that way? Because people taught her to be that way. You can't be that. You have to be an open-minded person There's a lot of issues that come up, and they don't adhere to any social structure, any views, any way of looking at things. They are themselves, and you have to deal with them accordingly. That's why you can't handle immigration and you can't handle abortion. Two issues in the top that's killing you. You can't handle your government because you don't know how to govern. You don't have a prime directive, and you don't have a document that's a dogma. Okay? And you need both of those things. Doctrine. A doctrine is something that you do, and it's not like the Monroe Doctrine. It's different than that. A doctrine is, this is the way our society is, and we run it. And we try to adhere to this 85-90% of the time. But a doctrine's going to change. But we want to keep at least 85 to 90% of it still on century after century. There's going to be changes, 10% or maybe 12, because of the different times and technology and people that we meet from other places. That's what happened to the United States. Since 1776, the times have changed, the people have changed. You've been into other places with different type of values. You've had to accommodate, which you haven't. Therefore, you're in the quandary you're in today. This is your favorite alien, campaign manager for Ralph Crandon, saying, is there anybody out there legitimate enough to run a third-party candidate against George Biden, against Mr. Joe Biden and Donald J. Trump, and take this nightmare out of sight? Nikki Haley, she can't do it because she's stuck with her her conservative views of looking at things. You need somebody that looks at things 360 and 465. 360, 24, 365. That's a slogan you should know. 360, 24, 365. That's a slogan you should adopt. This is your favorite alien campaign manager for Ralph Crandon. A good day.